As a real estate agent, after touring hundreds and hundreds of homes in here in San Diego, I come up with this question where is it really about the house or is it really about the selling skill? When it comes down to this, it's really two big concepts of it. You got the marketing side, you got the sales side, and you got people who just think if the product is already good, just like you selling an iPhone is already good, it wouldn't even matter. You would automatically find your audience. But after seeing so many homes that sits on the market for hundreds and hundreds of days, or maybe people trying to relisting it, is it even about the houses or is it even about someone selling skill? There is so much approaching point to this question where I personally honestly been in the business for not that long yet, just few months in. But I feel deeply sometimes when a product just doesn't meet the market standard, it's really hard to find that audience or find that target customer. Well, I'm sure that there will be people that's going to eventually buy the property, but sometimes it takes so long and takes so much effort for you to find someone that actually want that property. Just taking as an example in Claremont, I visit so many fixer-upper home that people had, but just sits on the market forever because everyone thinks it's overpriced, it's not worth it. Everyone want rates to drop, but when rates really drop, is it really just gonna be people buying more of it, or the price going down, or how is thing gonna turn out to be? Because as a personal experience, shopping not a home but like a place to live, just renting an apartment. When I first visited different apartment, I visited an ugly one, I visited an okay one, and I visited the luxury, the best one. And there's so much comparison where you just automatically feel better when you're meeting the one that actually what you're looking for and it meets your standard. Because some of the apartment just give me such an awful experience, and while some of them just give me such a great experience, the moment I walked in, I know I want this regardless of the price. I might have to work a little bit harder towards it, but oftentimes we have this huge question because people are just not think the home worth the price, but the seller think the home is worth that price. So when it comes down to this question, I think it's really important for the seller side to get their answer and the buyer side to get their answer correctly. Because I do marketing and social media platform, I get millions and thousands of people checking out every home that I show and I tour. And I often get feedback of it is too expensive. It is gorgeous, but I need to think about it. Even though I've been doing all of these stuff, I haven't even come down to a sales. To not even close to closing a deal, but just simply going talking into making something happen. I know doing real estate and being a real estate agent isn't as easy, and there's sales always going on every single day, transaction happening every single day. But sometimes some of the product or the houses I walk in and looking at the price, it just make me wonder, is it really even worth it to sell it to anyone? Or is the seller even want to sell this fast enough, but the requirement is way too high? It's always come down to a supply and demand thing. If you set a price to ridiculously high, but it matched the surrounding market, well, maybe it shall sell, but sometimes it just takes forever, and it's such an emotional decision that people just don't want to take. And I often ask people for their opinion because I think if you're being a listing agent side, someone is selling a property, you should really get to truly understand why the seller want to sell and what are their purpose and reason and what they're looking for. Like, even the agent, you're being the middleman helping out the seller, but sometimes you should advise them because you're the most professional at this position and you're like the consultant. But if you can provide any specific detail, effort, or advice to help the house owner to understand the true value of their home price, the property is just going to sit on the market forever. I may not be credible enough to say all of this, but simply from my experience and looking at every single property I visit and I tour, this is how I felt. Maybe there isn't as much excitement when you walk in a property knowing that the price and the look of the property just doesn't match. It doesn't brings in that emotional feeling. Unlike you're walking into a luxury area and then you heard the price, this is actually affordable. We don't get any of that feeling at all nowadays in this housing market. And maybe there might have to be some solution to solve this as well. I understand some Asians just put the house on a Zillow. It's gonna get to reaching people, or hosting some open house. People are gonna visit. I don't want to diss on anyone or talk bad about it, but oftentimes not enough effort being put into property. There have to be a reason, because even the listing agent themselves don't even think it's even feasible to sell it at that price or making that deal happen. So it's just sit on the market for such a long time. Even with their contract coming up, they're able to relist it, but rather not many agents get the opportunity to even take advantage of it. And I think it's really true that regardless of how good of a salesman you are, if the product you're selling is just so awful, at the end of the day, it is just marketing and sale. There is nothing attached to it. And I really think, like, if you were selling a bad product, you gotta say it, the honest truth, to be authentic about it, because you can't be bragging too much about a product that just doesn't make sense with the price. And at the end of the day, leading to someone making a wrong decision. I understand you need to make sales for a living, you need to do this and do that, but you gotta understand the product itself, what it's really truly worth, and how authentic your sales are. And especially with the new code coming up, where buyer representation, you have to actually sign contract and all of that, and you don't have a guaranteed commission anymore, any of that. But now it's just leading all down to the authentic word, because there are people who's willing and hungry, desperate for sales, while people who get opportunity laying there that just doesn't take any action. If I see a property sitting on a market for 200 plus days and the agent isn't putting in any effort, I am worried, because if there's no transaction, no sales going, that's not good for the whole entire industry, not just the agent themselves or that property itself. You have to look at a lot of stuff from a macro perspective and look at this as a whole, because if no one's want the transaction happening, no one's moving around, then people aren't moving around, going anywhere, there won't be any sales making happening or any revenue generated in the industry to put in somewhere else. So it's like a chain. They all connect all together, and we have to all work together. At the end of the day, the product have to match its price, and the sales skill have to come along too. Because sometimes you will see a product that isn't good, or sometimes you will see a sales that isn't good. And you just have to truly understand which are best for you, and understanding the true value of the product and the selling marketing skill.